Hey guys, AngryMonkey here with another RetroGameTreasure unboxing video. This is January, so Happy New Year. This is my first video since the New Year started, I guess. So yeah, Happy New Year. For those who are new to the channel and you're wondering what is RetroGameTreasure, it is a video game subscription service that sends 3 to 5 games to your house every month to add to your personal collection. This is not a rental service, you get to keep these games. And these games range from a variety of different consoles that you pick on the website, and you'll get games for those consoles and only those consoles. But not all the consoles if you have multiple consoles selected, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so you can pick some old school stuff like Atari 2600 or Intellivision, for example. They have a bunch of Nintendo stuff going all the way up to the Wii, so NES, Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, Wii, as well as the portable stuff of the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS. You have a bunch of Sega options as well for the Sega Master System, Genesis, Sega CD, and Sega Dreamcast. Although the Dreamcast and Sega CDs are pretty hard to come by, so don't expect those in your box ever. I have gotten a Sega CD and a Dreamcast game before, but again, that is a very, very, very rare thing to get. Yeah. You can also get the Game Gear as well. You can also get PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as PSP, original Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. So there are a lot of consoles to get games for. And like I said, you check the games that you want, and you'll only get games for those consoles. You also might get some extra goodies too, like I don't know, those NES stickers or trading cards or a Yoshi stylus like I got once, or a PS2 memory card. I've gotten stuff like that before as well. Kind of rare, but that's also a possibility. Now, if you're wondering, well, gee, I have a pretty big collection, so how do I prevent getting duplicates of games I already have? Well, you're the one that would prevent those duplicates by going on the website and filling out the checklist, but you need to make sure that you check all versions of that game. So yeah, you've got Star Wars Battlefront on PS2, but you got to make sure you check off that you have the black label and the red label greatest hits. And I would also hop over to the original Xbox as well and check that version off, unless you want it on both Xbox and PS2. Some people do. I, for one, say, oh, I've already got it, so I don't need it on a different console because I already can play it on this console. But yeah, make sure you check off all versions of that game to avoid duplicates. That's something that I've learned the hard way of, oops, I forgot to check this game off on this console because I've got it on this console, and I forgot to check on this other console. So learn from my mistakes. You can also do a wish list thing as well, which I've gotten a wish list thing in pretty much every box for the past like 2 years or something, just because I've got a lot of wish list items. Yeah, so don't expect Earthbound or some other very expensive title, but like Super Mario World, you just got a Super Nintendo and you're like, hey, I want Super Mario World. Yeah, you might get that in your box. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to put Earthbound on that list, but you're not going to get it, but you know what I mean. Within reason, you can get some of those items from your wish list. Like I said, I've gotten a wish list item pretty much every box for like the last couple years or something. Even before that, it was like every other month or something. So it is pretty regularly that you can get a wish list item in your box. So that's really nice. So I guess the next thing to do is to show off the survey, which the survey tells them on what kind of collector you are. If you're a kind of a new collector and you're like, hey, just give me more, just give me a bunch of games to build up my collection quick, or hey, I'm a little bit more I don't want to say picky or selective, but like condition means a lot, so I want games that are like complete in box, or games that are just in very good shape, which that is me. I mean, I've got over 1,500 games, so like I prefer the quality of what I'm getting rather than just getting me a bunch of games, although I'm definitely welcoming a bunch of games as well. But I like getting complete in box. I mean, if it doesn't have the manual, I can pick up a manual later, but it's really hard when you have a loose PS1 disc and you're like, cool, I got to get both the case and the manual and all that stuff. It's just a pain. So I prefer complete in box. So anyway, you go on there, you fill out the survey. Like I said, you fill that out. Fill out the genres of games that you like to play, and you'll only get genres that you selected. So check what you like. don't check what you don't like, so that way you don't get a box of sports games, because most of us don't do sports games. I mean, I know I don't, and I think I even read that on like their Facebook page of like, oh, don't get sports games or something. Like, it's kind of like a big selling point, because that is kind of a big selling point. You subscribe and you're like, oh, cool, Madden 98 and NHL 94 and this boxing game. Like, some people are into that. Most of us don't, except for like select few titles. I mean, like NBA Jam is great, but most of us don't really do all those sports games. So it's nice to have a box where you can have it catered to you and the genres of games that you actually like. You can also check off that you like getting imports or demo discs if you've got like the NES or Super Nintendo mouse or the Super Scope or the Zapper. Like, you can say like, hey, I've got these accessories, so it's okay to send me games that use those accessories. Like, I've got a Super Scope, and I know I've gotten a Super Nintendo Super Scope game before, which is fine, because like, oh, I've got the Super Scope, so yeah, sure, let's get a game that I can use it with. Stuff like that. I think that's all I really have to say. I mean, you can see the survey right there. And you can see on how you can customize it with what you like, what you don't like, and all that stuff. So why don't we go ahead and zoom out here. I need a knife. I got my knife. So I'm going to pull this out of frame so that way you guys don't see my address. And my one-handed flip that shut, just because I can. As always, I'm going to have this backwards, so that way we don't get spoilers of what the next game is when I pull the first game out. So, first up, we have... Well, I was going to make a joke about how their pillows are inflated, not the prices, but even this pillow is not inflated. But we do have our Air Defender Lite from DiscountAirPillows.com, where pillows are inflated, not prices. This is not inflated, like, at all. Like, that is the amount of air, is like that. So a little misleading on that title there. But yeah, these guys usually help in protecting our games from rattling around the box. I did hear a lot of rattling, but I guess that's expected when you have a deflated air pillow. So it's not even an air pillow at that point. Alright, what do we got? So I feel a Game Boy Advance game. Okay, Rockman, so that definitely means it's Mega Man. So Mega Man something 6. I mean, if I see Capcom, I'm going to assume Mega Man, even though I know Capcom does more than just Mega Man. But, I mean, Rockman is Mega Man's Japanese name. So this is a Mega Man game. Footage up here of what it is and what the title is, because I don't know. But, well, you guys know, and future me knows, but current me doesn't. Anyway, so I got a Game Boy Advance game. Okay, I feel an Intellivision game. Triple Action. I don't even know what that means. This is from 1979 though, so this is a pretty old game. This game's 45 years old. Wow, 45 years. That's right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 45-year-old video game. That's just crazy on how old these are. I refuse to believe the 70s are 50 years ago. Like, they're like 20 years ago, right? Anyway, so I feel 2 more games. This one is an Xbox One game. We got, Forza Horizon 3. This is an Xbox One console exclusive. This is also the IGN racing game of E3 2016. Tells you that this is a pretty good... I mean, it's Forza. You know it's good. Yeah, this is Xbox's like exclusive racing game. like you have a Gran Turismo on PlayStation, you got Forza on Xbox, you got Mario Kart on Nintendo. That's kind of I've heard that as kind of like the comparisons. But yeah, Forza. It's a classic series, and I'm assuming it's 2016 because it says, yeah, even right there it says 2016. Yeah, classic racing game, or classic series, I should say. All right, and this is probably PS4 because usually I get an Xbox One and a PS4 game. I was right, and it's a game I already have, but yeah, I got Far Cry Primal. I'm pretty sure I've got this. Well, I must be going crazy because I know I've got that game. I know I've had it in my hand like 8 times, and I don't have it on my shelf. So cool. This is probably the wishlist item. Maybe that's why. Maybe I've had it in my hand, and I'm like, I'll probably get an RGT at some point. Which, oh, here we go. So yeah, I got 4 games in this box. Here is all of this, basically telling you that you can take a picture and post it on their social media, and you're entered to the Boss Chest giveaway. Which, with that, you could win a game console. I remember at one point, I remember a PS1 being a Boss Chest giveaway item. I remember a Sega Genesis. I remember a Master System, which I remember for the longest time. I'm like, oh man, I really wanted to win that Master System. Now I got a Master System, so it's all good. But I do remember that was like the thing for a while. But yeah, you can post a picture on the social media and possibly win a game console, and then you can get games for that game console that you won. So that's kind of a neat thing. Yeah, so anyway, yeah. There's the website, but I also have a link in the description below, so that way if you like this, it is my reference code, and if I refer 3 people to RetroGameTreasure, then I'll get a free box, which I've never had that happen before. That would be pretty cool to have happen, like, once. So, yeah, if this interests you, if you're like, oh, yeah, it's a pretty good box, and I want one of those too, yeah, it's in the description below. However, I am not done talking about video games just yet, because I have a bunch of pickups that I guess technically started Christmas Day, but most of these are in the new year. So why don't we clear off the table here, and I'll show off some other pickup items I got. Nothing too crazy. I mean, last month is kind of hard to beat with a Box 32X and a Rob the Robot. Both are really great items. So yeah, nothing like that, but yeah, I still got a pretty good haul in the last month, so why don't we clear off the table and I'll show those off. Alright, well, first up, I got this on Christmas Day itself, is the Bowser Skylanders Amiibo to add to my Amiibo collection. And I remember wondering, like, how does this work for both Skylanders and as an Amiibo? Well, I learned here that this is how it works. So there, Amiibo, and there we go, Skylanders. So just a simple little switch back and forth is how you switch between having it as an Amiibo and as a Skylander. I have a handful of Skylanders, but I only have like one Skylander game, and it's for, what, PS3, I think, and I don't even have the platform to play it, but now that I actually have, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 Skylanders, not counting Bowser, which only, of course, works on the Nintendo version. But once I get that little platform and, well, obviously Skylander games, I guess I could play those on the channel. But anyway, I just figured I'd mention that. So yeah, we got Bowser, and I got another game in the Army Men series. This is called Green Rogue. Now, gameplay, I'm like, that one's seems to be one of the weaker ones in the series, based on what I'm seeing in the gameplay, but I mean, it still could be good. And I mean, I just remember this series from when I was a kid, like, not even as a video game series. I remember these as toys. I remember going down the toy aisle, and I'm not talking about the little green plastic Army Men. I mean, obviously, this game is based off of those, but like, there's specific characters from this game series. and they made toys of those. Like, I remember, like, the Sarge and the Minesweeper and, like, some of the other characters. And I remember thinking, like, those look really cool. I kind of want those. And I never got them because I guess I didn't really understand what they were from. I just thought they were kind of cool looking. But who knows, maybe someday I'll get those figures and just add them to my collection for the sake of nostalgia or something. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, Army Man Green Rogue on PS2. I also got a game that I thought I had, but apparently I didn't, was Animal Crossing City Folk. It is complete, so that's really exciting. Yeah, just a standard Animal Crossing game on the Wii, which I don't have all the Animal Crossing games, but I've got a decent amount. I mean, I've got this one, I've got the GameCube one, I've got the DS, I've got the one on 3DS. But there's another one, the Happy Home Design. I don't have that, and I don't have the one on Switch. But yeah, I've got Animal Crossing games, just a cute series, and yeah, maybe this will be a fun game on the channel for a more chill playthrough. This is, by the way, we're still in last year, but after that I went to GameStop because they had a buy two get one free, and I don't remember which were the free games because it's been a month. But anyway, I got Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which has, what, 5 of the Shovel Knight games and one collection on the Switch, which I wanted the Switch version because I have the Shovel Knight amiibos, which obviously these are compatible with those amiibos. I mean, you can even see there. There we go, yeah. That you can use the amiibos with this. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted the Switch version, was for the amiibos. Might as well use the amiibos that I bought and collect. Yeah, anyway, Shovel Knight, just a classic indie game. I mean, that's kind of like the mascot of indie games. Kind of like how Mario's like the mascot of Nintendo and all that stuff. Like, Shovel Knight is kind of the mascot of just the indie games, I guess. I'm probably wrong on that, but that's what I associate when you think of the indie games. You think of like Shovel Knight. I guess Undertale would probably be another. I think that's an indie title as well, which I guess that would be another mascot. But you know what I mean. Anyway, I also got the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which has like 30 games or something. I wish there was an actual list on here of like all the games that it includes, kind of like the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove did. But I mean, it's got like the Ninja Turtles arcade games, the Ninja Turtle NES games, and Turtles in Time on like NES and Super Nintendo and Genesis, and the Hyperstone Heist on Genesis. It's got all those on this collection, and I'm like, you know what, that's a pretty cool collection. Like, I didn't grow up on Ninja Turtles, but I will admit that some of those are really fun games. Like, I mean, like Tournament Fighter and the arcade games, like those are classic video games, whether you're a fan of Turtles or not. I mean, if you are a fan of Turtles, then this just makes the game even better. But even if you're not really a huge fan of Turtles, it's still a fun arcade game, and so I got it for some of those. So yeah, maybe we can play some of those on the channel as well. I got Tiny Tina Wonderland, which is, I mean, it's in the Borderlands series, of course, so you got all the Borderlands humor, of course, and it's almost like somebody's running a D&D. So like you're like the footage I found that you're seeing here is like running through a field, and then like you hear Tina's like, okay, and then this thing happens. What do you do? I mean, it kind of reminds me of like how people would play D&D. So that's pretty cool. But I've seen Kajinama played it on his Twitch, what, like a year or two ago, and I mean it's kind of interesting. The map is almost like a board game where you have like, I don't know, like a pencil is this thing, and a little thimble or whatever is this thing. So it's kind of neat on how they created this world. But it's got a lot of humor, and I love games with humor, and yeah, sounds like a fun game to play on the channel. Soul Hackers 2 on PS5. I don't know anything about Soul Hackers. I just saw the Atlas name on there, and Atlas Games, it's kind of a coin toss of Is this going to be a $150 game in 5 years, or is it going to be like a $20 game in 5 years? This is probably going to be like a $20 game in 5 years, but you never know. But Atlas games are usually pretty good. It looked like a fun, like actiony type of game. So yeah, some of these games are just, you know what? I'm going to take a risk. I think it'll be pretty cool, and that was one of those types of games. Ratchet and Clank, you can't go wrong with Ratchet and Clank. Rift Apart on PS5. So it's pretty cool that Ratchet and Clank is still a thing. But, I mean, I've not actually ever played through Ratchet and Clank game outside of demos at stores. But I had a fun experience with playing Ratchet and Clank games in demos and stores that I buy every game in the series that I can. I'd love to play more of it. I mean, this looks really interesting. Like, is this like some alternate dimension Ratchet and Clank or something? Or like some anti-version? I don't really know what this is, but, I mean, I'm intrigued. And I'm sure you guys are yelling at me in the comment section of like, why do you get these games that you don't even play? Like, I don't know. It's a problem, but I enjoy it, so that's what I do. I mean, I hope to play it at some point. I buy these games with the intention of playing them at some point, but just life. So I also got the Mega Man X and Mega Man X2 collection, which, as you can see here, has the first 8 Mega Man X games, which is really cool. And it also has a prequel film of the day of... You know, I actually don't know a lot of Mega Man characters. So, future me, what is that symbol? And, like, what is that? Because I know what that is, but I'm drawing a blank on what that is right now. Anyway, it's got 8 Mega Man X games in one collection, which the Mega Man X games are pretty expensive. I got Mega Man X1 on Super Nintendo, but like Mega Man X3 is like a $300 game. So yeah, I can play it thanks to the PS4. And I think I've got one on PS2? Well, yeah, I do. I also have this Mega Man X collection already, but this is 7 games in one. So this is Mega Man X 1 through 6. So how's that not 6 games, not 7? But so yeah, I guess this is still the better package, because this has Mega Man X 7 and 8, and this only goes through 6. And I think now we're finally in the new year with Spider-Man on PS4. I got this at Best Buy for like $20, I think, because Best Buy is discontinuing all physical media. I thought it was just going to be DVDs and Blu-rays, but apparently it's also going to be video games as well. I mean, they discontinued CDs a few years ago, which is really upsetting. But I'm like, well, okay, they still got video games, they still got DVDs, but now they're discontinuing all physical media. I mean, so you can still go and buy a Switch there, or a PS5. You can still buy computers, TVs, and appliances. But yeah, once they run out of video games, there's no more video games. So that's really upsetting. But anyway, I got this for $20. I also picked up this collector's edition. They call it the Day 1 edition for Silent Hope, which people say is in the Rune Factory series, I think, or at least it's a similar game to it. But yeah, it's just an RPG. I guess you have all these characters, and they go through these levels, and you got to level them up, and I mean, it looks pretty cool. But like, look at all this stuff that this includes. Like, it has a soundtrack to it, which is really cool. And you also have this art book in here too, which, I mean, obviously it shows off like it's got the story in there. It's got like the major characters and like a little bit about them, which is all really cool. And yeah, maybe if I play this game, maybe I'll play through all the characters. I don't know. Oh wow, there's a lot on this one. The Wanderer. Yeah, but I mean, you got like all the characters in there, and you've got like character sketches and different monsters that you'll face. Oh, this is cool. I really like this. Like, artwork's beautiful. Look at that. So yeah, that was something else, and even though this is like a collector's edition, I it was only $50 for all of it, which I think is actually kind of a ripoff because apparently it's not worth $50. But I have a feeling that someday it will be, because I mean I basically paid the same price for the art book and the CD as I would have for just the game itself. So I think I got a pretty good deal on it, but I could be wrong. And another trip to GameStop, I picked this game up for $3. It was like $3.74 or something. I'm like, either the game's really bad or not. I mean, it looked interesting, but I mean, for like less than $4 for a Xbox One game, yeah, that was pretty cool. So I picked that up, and a couple other games I got severely discounted. Like this was Scarlet Nexus. I don't know anything about it, but I got it for 75% off. So yeah, for $20, this was a $5 game, which was pretty crazy. So anyway, I picked that one up. You know, the one bad thing about not getting around to playing my games right away is you don't realize that they forgot to put the disc in there. Oops. At least it was a $5 game. So, yeah, I'll have to call GameStop and let them know, like, hey, you sold me an empty case. Another game I got was Startopia, Spaceship Startopia, Space-Based Startopia, I should say. Got this for 25% off. So, from what I'm seeing here, it's like a simulator strategy, Sim City type of game. You're like building a spaceship and like creating like intergalactic trade and stuff, and so like you have people like there's like commerce and trade and all that. I'm like, yeah, it's like a Sim City but in space. It's kind of cool. I mean, I could be wrong once I start playing it, but it looked pretty interesting. So anyway, that was also on sale. So yeah, these three games I got for under $30, which is an amazing deal. I don't know anything about this game, but it just sounded interesting. So it's like a 1920s. I mean, it's kind of mystery in a way. I mean, there were certain elements of it that reminded me of like LA Noire in a way, but with like investigating the crime scene and like interrogations and stuff. But there's also like this like dimensions of seeing memories of the past of things that happened, and it's like oh, what's his name? It's on the back, I think. Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft. So yeah, it's like Lovecraft horror games. So like Cthulhu and like all these other like weird creatures and things. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I'll play that. I also picked up Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. This came out, I think, in 2009. So, yeah, just another game in the Mario Sonic Olympic series. But a game that I wasn't really interested in when I was a kid, but looking back, I'm like, you know what? It's a Mario game. It's a Sonic game together. Like, Mario characters, Sonic characters. I mean, characters that we all know and love. And if I can get it cheap, like $15, yeah, I'll buy it. It sounds like a fun party game on the channel. So yeah, picked that one up. Running out of room on my table. I also picked up A Boy and His Blob. This was kind of a reimagined whatever on the Wii. Originally, this was an NES game, but they re-released it on the Wii, like reimagined it and all this stuff. I mean, like you got like colorful, cartoony graphics, but yeah, like I guess you have to solve puzzles by transforming your blob into different shapes and stuff. I mean, like that's how it is on the original, which I'd love to get the original as well. But yeah, I picked this up. I think this is like $20. Yeah, I guess with tax it was about $20. So yeah, a fun little game there. And I also picked up a couple must-have Game Boy games. So I picked up Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. So I think this is the first where you play as Wario, because Wario was kind of like the bad guy in the first couple Mario Land games or something. I actually haven't played them, but I know that he was a prominent thing in the Mario Land games. And then now things switch to now you're playing as Wario. So anyway, I got Wario Land on Game Boy and Wario Land 3 on Game Boy Color. So those three games I got right before a convention that I went to over the weekend. And then at the convention, I picked up a couple more games where I got Midway Arcade Treasures 3 on Xbox. So now I've got the full trilogy of these, because Kajinama sold me Treasures 1, like 2016 or 17, something like that. And then I got Treasures 2, like a year or two ago. You could probably find the one of those update videos and unboxing videos where I talk about that. But anyway, I got that. And now I've got Volume 3, which has another, like, I don't know, like 8 games or something. I'm not counting. So that's pretty exciting. So, yeah, 8. I could just look right there. Includes 8 retro racing classics. That's pretty cool. So I wonder now if the others are like broken down in genres. Because that's number 1. It says arcade games, and this one also says arcade games, and this one says retro racing. So interesting, yeah. Okay. But yeah, like I said, now I've got the full thing there, and the last game I got, which is, I've been looking for this one for a while, so I was really excited to get this one, was Chrono Cross. So I've got Chrono Trigger re-released on the PlayStation, but Chrono Cross is the sequel to it. It says 20 years after the events of Chrono Trigger, a new set of adventures are preparing for a battle that will surpass even space and time. So that is very exciting to get the sequel. This is a game I've been looking for a while, so I was excited to add this to the collection. I would have gotten a few more games, but yeah, the vendor was a little expensive. Like, I mean, I think even Chrono Cross is, I mean, I know it's over 30, but I don't think it's anywhere close to 45, and the Midway Treasures Arcade is probably like a $13 game. So, not too bad, but the guy had Pokemon Green, which I've wanted to get for a while, and it's a less than $20 game, and he was selling it for $75. I'm like, yeah, okay. I gotta watch out on some of these prices. I mean, he had a lot of great stuff. I mean, like, Fatal Frame, like, 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or something like that, and Rystar, and, like I said, Pokemon Green, a lot of import games as well. Like, you can get, like, import Fire Red and stuff like that, but, like, even that was, like, $65, which, for an American release of Fire Red, is an amazing deal. For a Japanese release, it's like a 20-ish, maybe $30 game. So that was like double the price. He had that that really nice green-blue GameCube controller that I mentioned a few videos ago. Beautiful. I'd love to get that. And the C-stick was great. I mean, like the analog stick and the C-stick were like perfect. Like, it's never been used. But he was asking $100 for it. And I checked eBay, and it's like a $56 controller. I'm like, okay. I'm not getting that here. And unfortunately, he wasn't good on deals. Like what you see is the price. Unless you're buying like an entire table or something like 100+ games or whatever, he might make a deal. But there were no deals to be found. So I'm like, all right, I gotta limit what I spend there. But speaking of conventions, like I said, I went to this convention. This is out of focus. There we go. So if that interests you, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm gonna upload that convention video hopefully in a few days. I'm gonna start working on it throughout the week. Hoping to have it done by the end of the week, and you guys can see what it was like at OhioCon 2024. So that's kind of my little spoiler sneak peek thing there. So, like I said, subscribe. I mean, you should just subscribe anyway, so that way you're like, oh, I want to see your playthrough of Chrono Cross, or hey, did you ever get that disc for Scarlet Nexus? That way you'll know if that happened. And it'll just be easier to know all that if you subscribe. I also have a Facebook page where I post these videos. If I get a little bit bigger, then maybe we can do a vote on if you want to see A Boy and His Blob or Sinking City or something as the next game played on the channel. I don't know, something like that, but I've got like 4 followers on there, so I'll wait until I get a little bit bigger there. I also have an Instagram where I might post something like, oh, cool, check it out, I got Chrono Cross, and I'll like show off the all that or something, and then talk about Chrono Cross. Or, yeah. But I forget I have an Instagram until I advertise I have an Instagram, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to post on that, and I still forget to do it, but yeah, it's there. Follow me. But I also have a Discord where you can be like, hey, I want to join your little community of nerds where we talk about video games and anime and Pokemon and post memes. And I also recently added a nostalgia channel where we can talk about, well, nostalgia, early 2000s and 90s, 80s. I posted a couple things from the 70s on there, just like, I don't know, just like, oh, look at this. This is kind of cool. Like things that you just don't see every day because it's from like 50 years ago. So if that interests you, any of that interests you, then yeah, join the Discord. Just be like, I want to join your Discord, and I'll be like, cool, here's an invite, and we can have fun, hang out, nerd out, as I always say. Um, I guess I'll stop the video here, and I guess I'll get started on editing this video, and maybe start editing the convention video as well. So yeah, like I said, Happy New Year, and thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.